Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 11 of season 4 of the F123 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on yesterday's video from Montreal, I would highly recommend going back and checking out a very, very exciting race from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and a late race safety car. You know, it was a little bit of a pre-spoiler as well. That did really cause some chaos. But of course as well, if you're new around here, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel for daily F123 content. Of course, still trying to do daily videos, with the exception of Grand Prix Sundays, until we win the World Championship. And this is looking like a pretty good fight for us at the moment. 15 points back behind Max Verstappen. You can see just 4 points ahead of my teammate Lando Norris as we head into the halfway stage of the campaign. They're 25 points clear of Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship as well. There's Aston Martin now move up to third best, but far more impressively than that, Ferrari now apparently have the second fastest car in Formula 1. We saw Carlos Sainz with a brilliant result last weekend. Are Ferrari now in this fight towards the top of the table? That is the question we're going to be asking over the next few races. But Austria, though, first sprint weekend since Baku's second of the season, has often been a place of good fortunes for us, so I'm hoping that can continue today. Well, Friday night qualifying then here from Austria, and really would it be an Austrian GP qualifying if there wasn't the threat of some changeable conditions? Often around here, it's the track getting drier and drier. This weekend, though, rain is meant to be inbound as qualifying goes on, so really don't want to run too many risks at all here, especially through Q1 and Q2 whilst the track is dry. Just want to try and get a good run on the board. So yeah, fingers crossed this first lap can be a pretty competitive time there. Not really too sure what times we're aiming for, as Logan Sargent at the top of the hill there, perhaps just in the way slightly. Hopefully we'll either give me a slipstream or we'll get out the way. And kind of does the second of the two options there. But as we plunge back down the hill, you can brake so late around this venue. Really difficult to try and get a lap hooked up, actually, around the Styrian Mountains. It is high risk, high reward, and especially with the strict track limits, it is very, very high risk to push to the absolute limit around this venue. But purple through Sector 2, that's a good sign as we make our way down in towards the final couple of corners. Then hopefully it's going to be a decent representative either way. Down just the one gear through the first part, down another two through the second. Use all the track as you possibly can, and it's going to be a 102.999 there. So only car at sub 103s, and that does put us fastest. Okay, well, looks like the rain apparently staying away then for the moment. Oh, sky actually looking a whole lot sunnier as we dive into Q2. But yeah, need to see a little bit of an improvement then. We did end up second fastest. Charles Leclerc found just a little bit more time at the end of Q1 over myself. Of course, we've seen Leclerc do some pretty good laps around here in the past, as not really too sure what's going on between Bottas and De Vries. Come on, man! Pick a lane! It's like trying to race down the M25 as we head up in towards Turn 2. They're way too early on the brakes initially, but hopefully the lap hasn't been ruined instantly there by a couple of cars getting in the way. Drogovic and Bottas, I'm pretty certain, made contact there through Turn 1 as they were still squabbling for whatever reason. Shades of Hamilton Verstappen back at obviously the real-life Austrian Grand Prix earlier on this year. But yeah, we've got Oscar Piastri just up in front of me as well. Hopefully he's not going to get in the way too much, as I'm sure he's going to be trying to get to the pit lane by the end of this lap. They're really mounting the curbing as we head down in towards the final couple of corners. Such a short lap, there's really not much time to get it right. It still feels like there's a lot of time to get it wrong here as Verstappen sets a 103.1. We are going to set a 103.2. Not as quick as the Dutchman, but that should hopefully still be enough, as trying to get out of the way of Oscar Piastri, we've completely taken him out. Well, apparently, as we dive into Q3, there's meant to be rain on the way within the next 5 minutes. Wouldn't guess that, looking at the sky, but yeah, 5-place grid penalty for us. Unfortunately, I couldn't even see, obviously, what happened between myself and Oscar Piastri. I think we tried to get off the racing line just as he went to start his lap there, as apparently we're racing Verstappen out to start our final laps here. Oh, sorry, my first lap even of Q3. We do get 2 shots at this if where the radar is lying, which instantly I'm believing it is. Right, but anyway, we're going to be the first car then to try and set a benchmark here in Q3, but a 5-place grid penalty is certainly going to leave us with a lot of work to do come Saturday anyway. I guess at least we got the sprint race. I don't know actually whether the penalty will apply to the sprint or not, to be honest, so we'll wait and see about that one, but let's just try and get back into the 102s again. Maybe try and get a mid 102 this time around there, as yeah, Q2 was a bit of a nightmare. Let's hope Q3, I mean, we've got clear track, so hopefully it should be a whole lot easier. Through the middle sector, 2 more corners to go. We do seem to constantly be flying through that middle sector. Definitely a bit more we can get out of the car through the penultimate corner, but out of the final corner, that was pretty good. 102.6. New fastest of anyone so far this weekend, and make sure this time around we get out of the way of Verstappen. Well, it does look like the rain has stayed away here as we're currently fastest then. About to start my final run of Q3. Let's just see if we can find any more time here. We don't know if we'll even be on pole ready for the sprint race or whether it'll be a 5-place grid drop from wherever we finish there, but I would love to try and improve once again. This has been pretty much a good lap on what not to do here at Austria. Big lockups at 1, 2 and 4. And we may as well send it through the final couple of corners. Yuki Tsunoda's gone even quicker than me. So can we find any time through the final couple of turns? There was definitely a couple more tenths on the table, but it is P2 at the end of qualifying, and I got no idea what that means. Well, there we go with them. Red Bull, of course, their home Grand Prix, and Yuki Tsunoda, after a rough few races there, goes fastest on Friday night. Definitely could have beaten that time set by the Red Bull driver there, but I think we're going to have good pace as we head into sprint race Saturday. Honestly, I'm hoping we serve the penalty now, but I'm led to believe it'll apply to Sunday's Grand Prix. Let's get on with it though. Sprint race Saturday time.
It's wet here today and we're expecting those downpours to continue. This will make for a difficult sprint for all the teams. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Verstappen, Gasly, Norris, Leclerc, Russell, Albon, Ocon, Drugovich, Magnussen, De Vries, Fittipaldi, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Liam Lawson, Théo Pourchaire, Joe, Stroll, Doohan and Logan Sargent. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Well, 2 wins this year and I think another 4 podiums, but still we've got that relief of points on the board. Love that though on the grid rundown. Oscar Piastri, no time set, just staring blankly off into the distance, and Zhou Guanyu apparently now is invisible inside F123. However, Looks like we're going to see changeable conditions then here on the sprint race. So this could be quite an interesting one here, of course. Could be quite a gamble, perhaps the inverse of what happened in the real-life Austrian Grand Prix sprint race. This could be about to get spicy. Let's try and make sure we get a good start then here for the Austrian GP sprint race. 5 red lights, Yuki Tsunoda on the pole. And there is not a long hold at all there. Tsunoda's going to get fantastic traction away from me as we head down in towards turn 1. Verstappen has gone nowhere though. A little bit further back, so that's okay to see. But as we try and put the power down out of turn 1, let's see what is the weather meant to be doing. So 10 more minutes of rain, the game reckons. So it could be an entire sprint race on a set of these tyres there. But already yellow flags out a little bit further back, as suddenly Tsunoda and I have already got a 1 second lead over the rest of the field. So not quite sure what's happened behind us. But you know what? We won't complain about it all too much there as we head our way down the hill. Ferrari, like we said, they've got a fast race car underneath them now. Maybe they can be the team to end the Red Bull and Audi run of dominance early on this season. But as we make our way down in towards the final sector, like we said, Tsunoda, maybe after the comments last weekend at Canada, you know, has dropped away quite dramatically from the top 3 in the championship. Maybe now Red Bull have kind of told him, you know, get your act together if you want to keep your seat. But as we make our way through the final corner, still 6 tenths back there as Yuki will lead the way. But yeah, really, I just wanted to see what happens to the weather. Oh, there's a big lock up there at 1. That might invite Carlos Sainz through, which it will do. And Charles Leclerc might even say hello as well as we try and head back up the hill. I think we'll be able to keep the Monegasque driver at bay. Apparently, we'll get fantastic traction on Carlos Sainz as well. I don't know why the AI can't put the power down at the top of the hill, but whether it's rain or dry, they really do struggle there. We'll take the place back, and we will continue our pursuit of Yuki Tsunoda as something's kicked off at the back of the field. We've got an Alfa Romeo round for the 2nd time here in 2 seasons, and now we've got a virtual safety car. If it had been a couple of laps longer, I might have thought about gambling it, as we got a Ferrari offers. No, that's Lando out of the race. So Lando Norris, a nightmare in the sprint race, and suddenly this thing's been red flagged. That's all kicked off rather quickly, and Zhou Guanyu's been disqualified. A lot going on there all of a sudden, but this could have massive changes to the race, because of course what we'll likely see now is it be dry.
So let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race.
Which it is not by the looks of it. Could we it won't even let me gamble on a dry set of compound tyres, so we're going to have to get on with it though in the second half, and you can already see that rain is getting less and less. 5 red lights once more. It's lights out, and away we go. And once again, Tsunoda will get the better start than me. This time around, Carlos Sainz trying to get around the pair of us down in towards turn 1. As well, Leclerc as well, they're trying to make something happen. Can we try and go side by side with the Ferraris again off the corner? Yes, we will, and 3 wide behind Yuki Tsunoda as we make our way up the hill there. Verstappen's had another nightmare, losing even more places, as none of us willing to give up on it there. As we just about get the car slowed down into the apex. We will hang on to P2 then here after another chaotic start. We've got more cars going slowly though, more yellow flags out towards the rear of the field. But has that brought the rain any closer?
So the rain should be stopping anytime soon.
Yes, it has. Rain could stop at any point, and then it's going to be a bolt onto a set of softs to the end. I mean, we all know it's all about the spray on F123. How much spray is being kicked up by the other cars will really define just how much grip you've got around a venue. But yeah, as we make our way up towards the top of the hill again, they're just snagging the front brake slightly. So difficult to try and get it slowed down. But I reckon we are going to see a switch to dry compound tyres here. And I'm more than prepared to be brave on that transfer if we need to. We can already see not much being kicked up by Yuki Tsunoda just in front of me. And of course, in these kind of conditions, F123 actually really incentivizes you to gamble slightly early rather than slightly late. Oh, you can see Tsunoda there struggling as we head down the hill. Maybe, is it worth a gamble now? Do we gamble it now? You can see a little bit still is being kicked up by Yuki as we make our way down into the final corner. No, we'll stay out one more. We'll see if we can try and get a run on the young Japanese driver on the road. course, it's 6 very, very short laps as well between now and the end of the race. So we're actually going to get a good run out of the final corner here. New fastest lap of the day. So we're trying to look down the inside of the AlphaTauri there. But, sorry, the Red Bull even. Tsunoda's looped it in the lead of the Grand Prix. Yuki Tsunoda has gone straight round in front of everybody here and cracking under pressure early on in the Austrian GP sprint race. I was never expecting that. Now we've got Charles Leclerc trying to look down the inside as well. And this is the most chaotic sprint race I've ever seen inside F123. But we are still somehow in the lead of this thing as Tsunoda plummets right to the rear of the field. You have to be on the right tyres at the right time in Formula 1, and we are starting to see a dry line forming here as we come towards the end of lap 6. This is a big gamble to make at this stage of the day, but from the lead of the race, whoa, oh, that was scary. Almost binned it trying to get into the pit lane there, but we are going to bolt on a set of the soft compound tyres to try and take us through to the end of the afternoon here, potentially undercut some of the other runners as well here. But we are now going to be down to last place there, so Tsunoda and myself from 1st and 2nd to start the lap to 14th and 20th at the end of it. Are we going to have the grip as we head back out of the pit lane? I think we might be half a lap away, but you know what? Those soft compound tyres don't feel too bad. And the rain has completely stopped. We've already taken 6/10 out of Logan Sargent. I know he's at the back of the field. You can see there through Sector 2, though, struggling to get the car slowed down the hill. Are we going to see any other AI in? No. No one else still thinks it's right. That's not good. Okay, now we're starting to gain time on Logan Sargent. The gap down to 4 seconds. As still our front runners not peeling into the pit lane. So do they just think it's not going to be worth it to dive it in before now and the end? Effectively, we've got 4 laps to go. We might just have screwed ourselves here. Even if the track becomes dry, we might not have enough time to do anything, as Tsunoda trying to make a move a little bit further up. We need the AI to battle, and we need the track to dry out. Every lap I'm looking, and none of the AI want to take the gamble onto a set of dries. We've gone purple through the middle sector. I think all we can do now is start trying to make overtakes, which we're absolutely going to be able to there, around the outside of Sargent and Valtteri Bottas in towards the final couple of corners. And now we kind of got to treat the AI as into feeling they have to pit before the end of this race. But 3 laps to go. Leclerc has still got a huge margin over me as we do go fastest. But unless they pit, I don't think we're going to have enough. Either the track's got to dry out monumentally quickly, or we've got to pray that they box. At the moment, we might have absolutely screwed ourselves here. He's trying to get a run on Teo Porcher up the hill. DRS now enabled, so we might see the AI start to pit. We've got another place gained, but we're not gaining much. Stroll next up in the Haas car, and again, you can just see the kind of speed we've got off of the corners. But we're just not gaining anywhere near enough time on the AI that I need to be if we want to get back to the front of the field there, around in the final corner. See, Doohan and Lawson, I mean, could we still score any points in this? This has been utterly bizarre as a 109.7. Every lap we're getting quicker and quicker, but we need to be a lot quicker than this. At the top of the hill, surely now we're going to be able to try and use the superior traction that we've always got there, whether it's rain or dry, around the outside of Jack Doohan, as the AI shouldn't really be allowed to use, well, the DRS in the intermediate conditions there. I kind of chop across his nose, but are we going to see any AI into the box before the end of this Grand Prix? You can see how slow Lawson is on the entry towards the end of Sector 2, but still no one is pitting in this Grand Prix. If we want to get any points, we're going to have to try and muscle our way up through the order there, back to P8, as you can see Tsunoda trying to make a move down the inside of, I think, the other Williams of Fittipaldi, which he will do. I mean, we have gained back a pit stop on Yuki in this race, but it's everyone else. We have completely messed up the strategy there. We've set identical laps back to back, and you can just see how much extra grip we've got, but we have not taken into account how much time you lose by making the pit stop here. Round Yuki Tsunoda will go. Should be able to get a run on Fittipaldi up the hill as well, but there's 7 seconds up to the Aston Martins, and Nick de Vries further up the road, round the outside of Fittipaldi. Thank you very much. 6 seconds now that gap has come down to, but the track is really drying out. But this has absolutely not been the way to go today. I cannot believe we've messed this up as badly as we have, and obviously with that 5-place grid drop as well, we're going to have so much work to do come Sunday's main event there. Ferrari, it's not quite going to be a proper Grand Prix yet, but it is going to be a sprint win here. their first victory at all since Season 2 of this career mode, but rounding our way through the final corners. What a nightmare this has been for both Yuki Tsunoda and myself. Charles Leclerc will take the win, but rounding the final couple of corners, it was a big gamble. If this had been a full race, it most definitely would have paid off. But here on Sprint Race Saturday, it's absolutely failed for me. It's P12.
Let's have a look then at the driver's standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Well, there we go then. Charles Leclerc, P1 at the end of Sprint Race Saturday, and Ferrari looking formidable here. Carlos Sainz P2 ahead of Max Verstappen there. Both Mercs, Ocon, Drugovich and Albon will round out our point scorers, but P12 in the end, 2.5 seconds faster on that final lap. But simply put, it was not enough here in Sprint Race Saturday. It does mean championship-wise, Max Verstappen back to a 21-point lead at the top of the table there, as his 3 championship rivals all fail to score. But we've got a lot of work to do then come Sunday. I feel like there's good pace in the car. Now, we've just got to prove it.
This is it then, race day in Spielberg for this year's Austrian Grand Prix. Not long to go before our drivers hurtle off the line and into the first turn, the Niki Lauda curve. It was renamed in 2019 in memory of one of Formula One's most beloved figures. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Gasly, Russell, Ocon, Drugovich, Albon, Magnussen, De Vries, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, Liam Lawson, Doohan, Stroll, Théo Pourchaire, Sargent, Bottas, Joe, Norris and Mr. Monaco. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is none other than Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. They're in for a tough race today, as they'll be starting out of position due to a penalty from earlier in the weekend.
It's unfortunate, but it happens to everyone at some point. You just have to accept your fate, knuckle down and get on with the business of making up that deficit during the Grand Prix. So they'll be pushing hard today. One to watch for sure.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Right, well, here we are then, trackside for the Austrian GP race proper. And we've got, both Audis at the rear of the field there. Lando, Norris, a bit of a nightmare yesterday. Obviously, we had a bit of a disaster. So I thought, obviously, we got that 5-place grid drop for taking out Oscar Piastri. So I thought we'll just put a whole fresh power unit in the car. Hopefully means we won't have to take any grid penalties between now and the end of the season. But going aggressive on the tyres as well. Austria is normally not too abrasive of a circuit, 36 laps ahead of us. I am looking forward to this. Then remember, the last time we started last in this series, we did go on to win the race. Right, let's do this thing though. Got to make sure we don't come together with Lando on the run in towards turn 1. 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. And Lando, Norris, they're not going away particularly well at all. Lance Stroll as well doing the same there. So we're going to try and power around the outside in towards the first corner. We got Pourchaire and Jack Doohan. Whoa, almost making contact as just moving around there all over my front wing. So up 3 places then off the start. Looks like Verstappen has instantly got past both Ferrari cars and straight to the lead of the Grand Prix. We're going to try and be very, very careful up through the hairpin there, and side by side with young Jack Doohan. We will make it through those. A lot of Constantina and up further up the field. Yuki Tsunoda seems to have had a good getaway, making up a couple of places a bit further up the road. But yeah, Verstappen, of course, he's got a huge opportunity today to try and further extend his championship lead. Has not had the run of form he would have wanted in the last few Grand Prix. Remember, we come into this weekend 4 wins on the bounce for the team, so I'm sure, yeah, the Dutchman will want to try and put a stop to that. But as we make our way through, that's a really stupid warning to get on lap 1. The amount of times I've said that so far this season, I do not know, but making our way through the final couple of corners, Verstappen will lead at the end of lap 1. Both Ferraris still line astern behind him. Are we finally going to see them try and get a first proper win in almost 2 seasons? As down the outside of Teo Porcher, not quite a turn 1. Surely we can switch him back though off the corner, and my former teammate has been navigated there. As you can see, Bottas and Lawson both jockeying for position just a little bit further up. Bottas to the inside of the young Kiwi. Of course, made his debut in Formula 1 real life last weekend and will continue to do so at Monza, but we're going to get the pair of them off the corner. There's a little bit of contact between 2 of our slower back market cars, and we're up to P14 then, a pretty successful opening lap and a half. One of the other things I love about Austria, of course, as soon as the DRS has been enabled, you get a chance to use it almost immediately, not like a lot of circuits where you've got to wait pretty much for the end of the lap there. So immediately we're going to go down the outside of Fittipaldi. Can we get it hooked up around the outside? Yes, we can. And back to P13 then we go of this race. It really does look like McLaren have taken a big step forward here. I don't know whether, obviously because they received a performance boost in the patch, whether now, wherever sort of level of development they had, they've received that same boost, or whether they've just brought a lot of upgrades to this last couple of races. But yeah, seems to be that they have now really cemented themselves in with the big 6, so effectively now it's the big 7 teams, and it just kind of leaves Alfa Romeo, Alpha Tauri, Williams, and Haas, of course, isn't it? Fighting for basically whatever decent result they can kind of clutch up. It would not surprise me if all 4 of those teams fail to score. So what's going on here? We've got some battling going on. Albon going to fancy his chances to the inside of Oscar Piastri. There is Tsunoda, very, very slow off the corner as well. Have we got the McLarens battling it out, which has been slowing everyone down? Can we try and switch Albon off the top of the hill? Yes, we certainly can. We might be able to get a run on Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri as well, as we plunge down the other side, just getting boxed in the wrong place at the wrong time there. Nowhere quite for us to be able to go, as Tsunoda led the way early on yesterday in the sprint race, looped it round in the wet, and really just has not been able to find his confidence since then. We'll get down the inside, and we're instantly then up to P11, and to be ahead of 1 Red Bull already, considering we started at the back of the field, is not bad going. Yeah, those McLarens are definitely battling each other incredibly aggressively, though, early on. There is a lot going on early on this race, but we just seem to be at the right place at the right time. As soon as I say that, Felipe Drugovich just moves over in front of me. There is Piastri. Why is he braking as we head up the hill? Are we going to be able to try and complete a triple overtake? Still got the Aston Martin there on my inside and the McLaren, but we use the curbing and we will get around the lot of them there. So another 3 places gained, and now to P8 then of the GP. We are making light work of the opposition, but a big gap up to Ocon in front. Now we can finally calm down and just focus on doing a few laps at race pace. I tell you what, starting lap 10, the times are looking very consistent, but we're not really closing in particularly aggressively on a lot of cars. Magnussen and Ocon now finally starting to battle a bit more, is allowing me to get a little bit closer, but Oscar Piastri has actually been taking considerable time out of me. Now he's found his way around the around the McLaren cars, even, I should say. Very odd when a driver is pulling away from the car he should be in when I'm trying to commentate, of course, in this series. But it looks like Tsunoda as well is moving up the order there, as Nick de Vries actually inside the top 10. I think has still only ever scored points once in the entirety of this My Team career mode. I think apart from F2 drivers that have come up, he's got to be the least successful driver we've ever had in F1 23, but closing in then on Magnussen and Ocon as we approach 1/3 distance this afternoon. Still feeling quite good, honestly, because Leclerc and Verstappen absolutely duking it out at the front, and now we've got some DRS. Hopefully that's going to make closing in even easier. Right, here we go then. Can we try and get a run on Magnussen up over the top of the hill? He's actually closing in on Esteban Ocon there, so we're going to try and force him defensive, break late down around the outside there. A little bit of snagging though of those front brakes means we're going to have to try and switch him off the corner and switch him once again. Magnussen just about enough there down the straight. Obviously Mercedes power coming up against Mercedes power, so not really a lot else we could do. And Ocon just getting a chance to breathe there. But with myself and Magnussen duking out behind him, you can see the top 5 still line astern. And Mercedes, another team that seemed to have come on really strong this weekend, perhaps helped, of course, by Leclerc and Verstappen duking it out like it's 2022 even, all over again. Now can we try and get a run on Magnussen through turn 1, though? A little bit loose again on the way in, but surely both of us are going to close in on Ocon as we head up the hill. This is why Austria is so great for racing. Inside F123 is... Oh no, we've got... Something's happened. We've got a full safety car here. There's been a roadblock and a red flag. Can I get past them all? Yes, I can. So we're suddenly now going to be P5 then in this race. Something must have happened between Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz and Gasly there. I think, therefore, George Russell is going to be leading the way. But we are definitely on a set of the medium tyres. I'm selecting that. I am locking that in. I'm not letting this game change the tyre compound for me. We want to try and go to the end of the day here. Has it worked? Yes, it has. And unfortunately, we're back down to P8 then. Verstappen's ghosted. 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. But George Russell to the lead of the Grand Prix. But Verstappen's gone nowhere. We're going to be 3 wide as we try and head down towards turn 1. But definitely at the wrong place on the inside of that first corner. We've got Oscar Piastri now trying to look around the outside of me. But George Russell suddenly to the front of the field there, clearly was able to avoid that carnage. Oscar Piastri still now trying to have a look down the inside. He's actually going to try it on Esteban Ocon as well. As it's all going to get a little bit messy again at the top of the hill. Can we try and get the power down off the corner as the yellow flags briefly right once again there? And yes, we can. Around the outside of Esteban Ocon, who's not going to give up on it. On the hard tyres there, Ocon really trying to give us a good run for our money, but we swooped through and we're now up into P7 then of this race. But yes, suddenly Verstappen down to P4. Of course, we need to try and outscore him today, but that red flag has really allowed us to bunch up to a lot of cars we probably wouldn't have been close to just yet. What will we be able to do in the second half of this race? But it very much seems like this race has continued on with the same sort of intensity. Ocon, though, is going nowhere on that set of the hards. We're now trying to apply pressure to Kevin Magnussen once again. So both myself and the Aston Martin able to get the better of the Alpine there. Is a very Ferrari strategy by Alpine. Can we dive to the outside of Magnussen up the hill? Yes, we can. But what on earth's going on at the front? Leclerc tried to go up the inside of Russell, and suddenly we've made up 4 places in the process, now into the podium of this race, and I have no idea what keeps happening here in the Styrian Mountains. I thought then that might be another red flag this afternoon, but Russell and Leclerc both on hards, so surely we got a chance to move to the front of the field here. Come on then, Leclerc, let's see what you got against George Russell as we head up the hill. We'll try and make sure we give the Ferrari room. Whoa, as Leclerc tries to go left, tries to go right, goes left again, 3 wide for the lead. No! George Russell there has just gone straight on. We have to go off the circuit to try to avoid contact in the end, but now we've taken some underfloor damage in this Grand Prix. Verstappen now is suddenly back up to P2 there, but how is that going to affect us in the second half of this Grand Prix? I can already feel the back end of the car slipping around slightly. Let's hope this isn't going to be terminal damage, but not what we wanted. But somehow, despite that, mixed emotions, because we're into the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix, and now want to try and pull away from the Dutchman.
They've got an issue with their car, they're going to be slow.
Oh, here goes Max up the inside at turn 1 as Lando Norris out of nowhere set a new fast lap of the day, so clearly he's had a pretty decent recovery drive as well from the rear of the field, but suddenly now it is our top 2 in the championship going side by side here. Whoa, Max, you can't do that. Tries to move on me in the braking zone. More contact between myself and Verstappen there. We actually get a warning for that one. I kind of felt I was boxed in. Team still reckon that underbody damage isn't too concerning as we've got yellows out. Someone's got issues. Is that Pierre Gasly? It might be Verstappen seemingly dropping away. Nope, looks to be a car a bit further back. It's Ferrari. It's Carlos Sainz then. So Charles Leclerc's just had to pit for a new front wing because of the damage inflicted, and Carlos Sainz seems to be breaking down here. So Ferrari, their day goes from bad to worse. Out of the Austrian Grand Prix goes Carlos Sainz, and what a nightmare once again. Pure Ferrari just the essence of Maranello. Yeah, Gasly having the race of his season so far, running up in P2, but apparently now mechanical issues are about to beset Mercedes then, and I was really hoping he might be able to keep Verstappen at bay, allowing me to pull out a 1 second window over the Dutchman, but I'm not convinced he is unless they go side by side, which they are. Go on, Pierre. Give me that fighting chance that I want against Maxi Boy here. If we can just get out the DRS, could really help us out in the second half of the race, and it looks like we will do. Verstappen 1 second back, of course. We lose a bit of speed through the corners now with that underfloor damage, but Gasly might just have done me a solid, and he might help Lando out if he holds up Russell, his teammate. That's not going to do me any favours though. 3 second penalty, so we have got to continue to push on and build up a gap to Max. It was a good job we got out of the 1 second range, because now we might actually be able to do that. Well, I think if we continue to push towards the end, we might just be able to get this gap open to Verstappen. It's going to be tough though. Max is really on it, and he knows that 3 second penalty. He doesn't even need to make a move, he just needs to hang close to me. We're going to have to keep going for qualifying laps towards the end. We know there's a free couple of tenths of a second up the top of the hill here, but everywhere else, it is fair game. Honestly, starting to remind me of Belgium last season. Max and I going at it, pulling away from the cars behind, but of course Max got the better of me that weekend, and I do not want the same story to be told here. 1.6 seconds, that gap floating around at the moment. But I just need to inch it up towards 2. It's so easy just to lose a tenth or two around this venue, but the gap is now up to 2 seconds. 7 laps to go here of this Grand Prix. We barely need just over a tenth a lap on Maxi Boy, but are we going to be able to get it? That is the real question. Lando Norris, he's not going to come to my aid. 6 seconds back now, so it should be safe from him anyway, unless Max actually started battling it out on the road. You can see through there. Often lose a tenth on the way in, but gain a couple of tenths on the way out. 2.4 seconds now. The gap opens up, but of course it could also come down to tyres towards the end, as we are starting to suffer a little bit with front locking. Oh no, if I get another warning, we're up to 6 seconds worth of penalties. Charles Leclerc there sneaks fastest lap.
Okay, be careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip anytime now.
Oh, that does not bode well either. Verstappen and I both starting to struggle on the tyres, but we have got no more warnings, and if we get another penalty, that is game over. That could have been it right at turn 1 as I'm saying it. No idea what's happening to Verstappen now, but suddenly we pulled out that second that lap on the Dutchman, so clearly starting to struggle late on in the day. Maybe our tyre life is a bit better than the AI here. Maybe we have got a fighting chance. 5 laps to go, and the gap now up to 4.5 seconds. To be honest, if we can actually open up another, well, 6 second lead altogether, I might try to do so just in case I do something stupid in these final 4, but what a weird race this has turned out to be. Remember, in real life Formula 1, no one has ever done a last to first in the sport's history, and we might be about to do it for the 2nd time in 5 races by pure chance and a bit of luck. Yellow's out late on. Could do without, well, actually we're too late to get a safety car, so I guess that's alright. One of the Aston Martins going slowly. And there we go. That must be Kevin Magnussen retiring from the GP late on in the day. Nightmare for Aston Martin. Then I say that Piastri is up in P5, but I'm just staggered. This floor damage is not costing us more than I thought it would. Well, around in the final corner then to start the last lap of the Austrian Grand Prix, and I tell you what, Verstappen, we've opened up that gap to basically 6 seconds here, just on the off chance that I pick up another warning. But we are going to do everything within my power to avoid that on this final lap here. This has been such a good drive, if I do say so myself, you know, after the nightmare that was the sprint race. Of course, you know, we took the gamble, you know, sensibly. I still think that was the right choice, but obviously the AI able to find the grip on a drying track on the intermediate tyres there. We were definitely the quickest car, but yeah, just could not make up enough time late on in the afternoon. But today, on Sunday, yeah, the red flag saved us. It gave us a load of free time, but I think we have more than proved we were capable today. Audi are going to go from 22nd to 1st and 21st to 3rd there. It's reminiscent of McLaren. I think it was 1981, wasn't it? At Long Beach there. It's been an absolutely dominant display today. Championship leader Verstappen will come through for P2. It is 5 wins in a row, though, for Audi. As we round the final corner, we are back on top.
Oh, so sore.
Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Well, not the result our points leader would have wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The owner-drivers team moved to the top of the table. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Austrian Grand Prix there. Like we said, 22nd to first for us, 21st to third for Lando, Norris. Audi absolutely had the pace here today there. Verstappen, our World Championship leader, separates us come the checkered flag with Russell, Piastri, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, Albon, and Drugovich again picking up another point in his McLaren. They're doing a fantastic job early on this season. It means, though, the gap down to 14 points, though, once more between myself and our title leader. Another 14 points back to Lando Norris there and Tsunoda on a weekend where he should have been able to capitalise. Now a very distant 49 points back behind anyone of our top 3 there. Piastri still best of the rest ahead of Ocon and Carlos Sainz. And yeah, Ferrari 1 and 2 on Saturday and were barely able to score any points. Sorry, didn't score a single point, did they, of course, come Sunday there. 35 points, though, the gap we've opened up now to Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. Still 6 points between Alpine and Aston Martin there in the British-based team's favour. And yeah, Ferrari and Mercedes, though, that could be quite a good battle, actually, for P3 between now and the end of the year if Ferrari and Merc can continue bringing on the upgrades there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very, very soon when Formula One returns to our home Grand Prix. It's the one we all definitely want to be winning. It's one that has not been favourable to me so far in F123. We'll be back ready for the British Grand Prix. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters that you can see currently on your screens. If you want to join them from as little as £1 a month, it would be massively appreciated and you help support my work. You also get access to weekly updates from myself with everything going on behind the scenes with the channel. But yeah, a massive thank you to the names you see on your screen, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new video.